Hey there, Tiff here. Oh my God, so much pressure you're feeling because you've got to go out and play in a competition pretty soon. You might need to go and play a pennants match for your club. You might need to just be playing a tournament for yourself, and you are really feeling it right now. Well, don't go anywhere. I'm going to share with you what we can do about that. So, see you shortly. Hey there, Tiff here. Welcome to Ambition Habits. Is that you? Do you feel like you have so much pressure within that you're so worried that you can't perform when you're going to go and play in a major competition or a competition for your club, or just even stepping out on the field and competing just for yourself? Like, are you feeling it? Because I know a lot of people do, and it doesn't matter what level that you play at. Like if you're playing at club level or higher than that, or local club level, it doesn't really matter. It's really the reason that you feel this way is because you care, and the other reason that you feel this way is you really just don't know how to deal with it. So what we're going to look at today is we're going to look at a way in which you can then deal with that pressure that you're putting within yourself, so that you know what to do and you can deal with that pressure. So what I find is, like, when you have too much pressure within and you're expecting that you should be able to compete, play well for your team, play well for your club, play well for you, sometimes what actually happens is that you get so focused on that you're going to be playing poorly, probably because you've played poorly before, so you've lost confidence in that. And the other thing too is, like, your skills are just not reliable enough. So what happens is you get so focused on playing poorly or leading up to you actually competing in a game where you're going to be playing poorly, like you haven't even stepped out there yet, but you know days ahead, days before the match, you're already thinking about how poorly you're going to play. And then the other thing too is, like, you get so frustrated with yourself because you know that you can do better because you've seen it before and you've seen snippets of greatness, right? You know that you can do this, but you get really frustrated. And then because you get so frustrated, you're not enjoying playing. And then you actually dread actually getting out there to play because you're so frustrated. So you're really trying to find excuses not to play. So we need to look at what we can do to change that. Okay. So here's something that I'm going to suggest for you that you can do is we're going to actually what I call reframe your expectations. Now, what happens is that your expectation, if you know it or not, could come from perfectionism, right? So it's that thing where you're thinking that you've got to be perfect, or the other side of it is, like, you're fearing that judgment. You may fear what other people think. You may fear that you're going to let other people down. You may fear of letting yourself down. And it can be debilitating because what actually happens is that you get so physically wound up, mentally and physically wound up, that you can't move. Your mind goes into a panic, your body freezes, and you just feel like you're actually going to go through a meltdown. So the thing that I want you to understand is that you don't have to be perfect. Like you see on the when you watch professional sport, you see the highlights, right? You see all the good stuff, like the perfection of somebody being able to perform the longest, like a 20-foot putt. Now, if you ask them to do it again, could they do it? But you see that. You see people hit a ball out of the bunker and into the hole, right? So you see someone shoot a basket from halfway down the basketball field, right? So, or basketball court, should I say. So you think that because what you see with the professionals you may feel that you need to be perfect as well, or people that you feel in awe of that you play with or play against, who you feel that they're more perfect, right? And you have to be like them. So you worry about being perfect, and you worry about everything, really. You worry about letting yourself down. You're worrying that you're not going to be good enough. And you get frustrated, and you get too focused on how you think you'll go versus what you actually need to be doing. So I'm just going to give you an example of, I've got a client who came and saw me recently, and she's really nervous about going to play pennants for her club. And she's really worried that she's actually not going to play so well, to the point where she's talking about how badly she's going to play. Now, she came and saw me at the beginning of the week, and then her match is coming up at the end of the week. Now, she was already telling me that she's going to be playing badly, and how she doesn't want to play, how she'd prefer to go on a holiday, or she hopes it rains, and she's actually dreading that game that's coming up. And, like, one of the reasons is that she's not playing well because she's just not hitting the ball well enough. Like, she's just not consistent with her technique. She's got a few people telling her different things, that she respects, that she plays with. So she's getting a lot of feedback. So she's getting too much information thrown at her, and she's not really sure what she should be doing. So she's not really clear on a technique. So that's a worrying thing for her, because she can't rely on her technique to perform. Then she's confused because she's got a lot of people telling her, she should be doing this, she should be doing that, she should be doing something else. And so she's frustrated, she's upset, she's so worried about letting the team down, but she's also dreading playing, that she's got herself so worked up already. She's already setting herself up for disaster. And like, this game that's coming up is days away, right? Now, she wants to, as much as possible, play the best that she can, but she's so worked up about it and so fearful of it that she just doesn't know how to deal with it. So what we want to do is we want to reframe her expectation around this. And this is what I want you to do, is, like, if you're experiencing this and you're so worried about how you're going to perform out in your sport, you may be putting so much pressure on yourself, and you've lost confidence, and you aren't performing the way that you want to, and you're incredibly frustrated, and you might be thinking that you've got to be perfect. I understand that. I feel like when I first started playing lawn bowls, especially when I started playing competition, I felt like I needed to be perfect because I practiced so much. And then I realized a lot of the good players around me are not perfect either, and that's okay. So I had to make sure that I was just focusing on what I can do and do best, in the sense of my technique, and keep refining that. And so what I want you to be focused on here is two things. And the two things that we want to be doing here is, so that we can let go of this pressure, we've got something else to focus on. So we're going to reframe your expectations. So the lesson here is, like, one is we need to get clear on the technique, and two, we need to reframe the expectation. Okay, so how are we going to do that? I've got 2 action steps for you. So number 1 is, you want to get clear on your technique. You really need to know how your technique works. You've got to know how it works, right? You need to know the ins and outs of how your technique works. Like, it doesn't matter if you're playing club level or less, right? If you're playing, state level, international level, national level, you got to know this stuff. If you want to play better, you've got to get your technique working, and you need to understand how to get your technique right. Now, to build the skill, you need to obviously go and have coaching around that, and continue to practice that. But the thing about knowing about what your skill needs to have in place, you need to, one, build awareness. Two, you need to build muscle memory. Three, you need to build consistency. Now, if you've got your awareness of what your skill needs to be, what you need to be doing through your skill. Two, you're starting to build that muscle memory. And three, you're starting to build that consistency. All of those three things, awareness, muscle memory, and consistency, well, that actually builds confidence, doesn't it? So that's our fourth thing. You've got to be confident in your technique, right? So you could think awareness plus muscle memory plus consistency equals confidence, right? That's the first thing we've got to do. We've got to get really clear on our technique and how to perform it well. The second thing that you can do is focus on a process-orientated goal. So rather than worrying about how you're going to perform, feeling the pressure from within, feeling the pressure maybe from the team, feeling that you've got to perform really well for the team, feeling that you've got to perform really well for yourself, rather than worrying about how you're actually going to perform, if you set yourself up with a process that you could focus on in that particular game, then it changes your expectations. It reframes your mindset. So I'll give you an example. So this particular lady that I'm working with, if she ever listens to this episode, she'll know that I'm talking about her. I won't mention her name though. But I said to her, rather than worrying about how she's going to perform out on the course, what she needs to be focusing on is a process. So what I suggested for her is, because we started to refine her technique so she could understand it better, I said to her, what I want you to do is I want you to track your technique out on the course. So rather than worrying about how you're going to play, what the other person's doing, you don't need to focus on that. You just need to focus on the path that's in front of you, right? So you only need to focus on the fairway, right down to the green, and you focus on what you need to do. So I said to her, what I want you to do is track your swing. And what I mean by that is I wanted her to track her swing so that she was getting the feedback. So if she did everything that she was supposed to do in a swing, there was a particular thing that she had to focus on. If she did that, she was to give herself a tick. If she didn't do that, she was to give herself a cross. And she was to do that from the tee to the green. Now, what I then want her to do from that is then add up ticks versus crosses. So then she gets some feedback and understands where she's at. So for example, if she ended up with, let's say 40 ticks and 40 crosses, then that shows just where her baseline is at. And then she could go, okay, well, from that, what I could actually do is I could aim for 50 ticks, right? So she's focusing on what she needs to do from an improvement point of view, so that when she goes out and performs again the next time, she's got to focus on what she needs to focus on in the sense of process, so she can get the feedback. And then she'll find that she's so focused on what she's doing, she's actually performing so much better. And then she's not even worrying about the pressure, because she's got her mission as such out on the course, what she's got to do for that day. So I hope that makes sense to you. So the thing that we want to do here is, like, if you are feeling pressure because you've lost a lot of confidence in your skills and you're frustrated and you're dreading getting out there and playing, the first thing we want to do is, like, remember, we want to reframe your expectation. And then the action steps is, like what I said to you, got to get clear on your technique. So awareness plus muscle memory plus consistency equals confidence. And then the second thing is focus on a process-orientated goal. So you got to figure out what's something that you could track that's actually going to help you perform better when you get out there and play in your sport. Well, that's it for today. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Love it if you could share with me below what you like best about what you heard today. And before you go, if you want to perform more consistently and with more confidence in your sport, come to my website, tiffany-micah.com, and get your 3 steps to building your self-confidence, with the Has Confidence formula so that you can harness your strengths and build resilience, activate positive self-talk and mindset techniques, and sustain confidence through improving your mental and physical skills. So I look forward to seeing you there. Have an absolutely awesome day. Remember this: dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams. Take care. Talk soon. Bye for now.